You feel dense, the voice hummed, a sound that resonated not just in his ears but seemed to vibrate directly in his bones. Heavy, like a compressed sun. Cale didn't move. His hand was still reaching for the sparking power conduit, the one that might just get his derelict scout ship breathing again. He was crammed into a space barely bigger than his own body, all sharp angles and exposed wiring in the dim emergency lighting. The resonance was new. He hadn't heard it on this wreck before. He certainly hadn't heard anything describe him before. He slowly retracted his hand, metal whining softly under his weight. He twisted his head, trying to see into the shadow of the collapsed bulkhead nearby. Nothing, just twisted metal and the omnipresent dust of the void. "Who's there?" he called out, his voice rough. Humming intensified, a low thrum that made the air feel thick. A faint shifting light bloomed in the darkness, not a solid shape but an intricate moving pattern of luminous lines and nodes. It wasn't a lamp, it was coming from something. "Who am I, that is, less relevant than what you are doing." The pattern shifted again, pulsing with a different frequency. It wasn't hostile, not exactly, but it was intensely focused, like a predator examining unusual prey. "You disrupt the resonance webs. This place holds the memories of others." Cale felt a prickle on his skin that wasn't just the dust. This wasn't some squatter human or stray bot. This was something else. Something organic maybe, but fundamentally alien. The light patterns pulsed faster. "I'm trying to fix my ship," he said, keeping his voice calm, practical. "It's broken. If it resonates, it wasn't intentional. I just need power." "Power?" the voice echoed, the humming turning thoughtful. "You seek energy transfer." The light pattern expanded slightly, resolving into something vaguely structural. Not like a body he understood, but a complex, shifting form of light and intricate internal motion visible through what he assumed was some kind of translucent skin. It seemed to flow rather than stand. He still couldn't make out distinct limbs or features, just this dynamic field of luminescence. "The resonance webs are vital. Touching them is not permitted." "Well, I didn't know I was touching resonance webs," Cale retorted, feeling heat rise in his face despite the cold void seeping in. "My scanner didn't pick up anything alive in here, just residual energy signatures." Alive? The light pattern shimmered, and he could have sworn the resonance carried a note of confusion or perhaps amusement. "We are present. Presence is not always what you perceive as alive. Your scans are crude. They measure the heat death of things, not the vibrant currents of existence." The glowing form flowed closer, impossible within the cramped space, yet it was there, somehow occupying the same volume. The resonance in his bones intensified, vibrating deep within his marrow. He felt a strange pull, like a distant current trying to tug at his own dense mass. "You are dense, yes, and warm, unusually warm, and the energy within you, it flickers. Is that typical?" Cale found he couldn't look away from the pulsing light. It was mesmerizing, intricate beyond anything he'd ever seen. It was like looking into a living nebula contained within this small, dusty corner of a dead ship. "Typical for humans, yeah," he managed, his voice a little breathless. The heat from this presence was palpable now, not warmth exactly, but an intense, focused energy that made the hairs on his arms stand up. "We generate body heat. It's how our biology works." "Body heat," the resonant voice repeated, tasting the words. "An inefficient energy cycle, yet it creates a unique frequency, a low, steady hum beneath the flicker." The light form drifted closer still, and Cale could feel an impossible pressure, not physical but resonant, like two tuning forks vibrating near each other. His own internal systems felt suddenly loud, his heartbeat a drum against the alien hum and pulse. He could sense the intricate, rapid movements within the glowing form, a complex dance of energy he couldn't comprehend. It was overwhelming, stimulating, and utterly alien. He wanted to pull back, but he was pinned by the sheer intensity of the sensation, the visual spectacle, the resonant vibration. This wasn't just a being. It felt like a fundamental force observing him, and the observation was suddenly very, very close. "The ship's here. They are all broken," Cale said, forcing the words out past a suddenly tight throat. He needed to ground himself, to remind himself he was here to scavenge, to survive, not to become an exhibit. Yours too. The pulsing light dimmed slightly, the vibrant dance slowing. The resonance softened, becoming a low, mournful hum. The structures, they are not broken, they are wounded deeply, and they remember. They hold the echoes of those who retreated into the light. The form flowed back slightly, creating a fraction of a meter of space, though Kale still felt the intense pull. You intrude upon a place of mourning, and you touch sacred threads. Kale cautiously shifted his weight. Look, I didn't mean to disrespect anything. I'm just trying to get my life support back online before the reserves run out. If I'd known. Known what? The light patterns flared again, sharp and questioning. Known that your crude thermal scans miss the fundamental truth of this place. That life, as you define it, is but a single facet of existence. The resonant hum grew sharp, carrying an edge Kale recognized, even if the source was alien. Impatience. You came seeking discarded remnants, did you not? Scraps of dead technology from dead ships. Survival, Kale corrected, his voice firm despite the tremor in his hands. I scavenged to survive. This sector, it's rich with old war debris. People pay good credits for salvageable parts. Survival, the form resonated again, the light pulsing thoughtfully. A concept we understand, though our methods differ. You devour the corpses of machines, we absorb the echoes. A new pattern began to bloom within the larger form, a complex, spiraling sequence of light and shadow. It felt ancient, significant. Your presence here is disruptive, but the disruption has revealed something, a flaw in the containment webs. You bypass them without activating the primary deterrents. Kale swallowed. Primary deterrents. Mechanisms designed to discourage intrusion, the voice explained matter-of-factly. Physical dissolution, resonant fragmentation, psychotic breakdown. The light pulsed slowly now, almost hypnotic. They failed to recognize you, your low, steady hum, your unusual density. You registered as inert mass, not conscious intrusion, an oversight we must correct. The light flowed forward again, faster this time. Kale felt the resonant pull intensify dramatically, focusing solely on him. It felt like his very atoms were being tugged, debated. This was it. This was the dissolution or fragmentation she'd mentioned. He braced himself, ready for pain, for disintegration. Instead, the flow of light stopped abruptly just inches from his face. The resonance didn't abate, but it shifted, becoming a focused, intense beam directed at his chest. He felt his internal organs hum in response, a terrifying sensation. The light pattern condensed, becoming incredibly sharp, intricate. And then the voice, closer than ever, a mere whisper carried on the resonant hum. You are different, not just inert. There is chaos within your ordered structure. A flicker I do not recognize. Tell me, Kale. And the use of his name, though he hadn't given it, made his skin crawl. What is the deepest wound you carry? The question hung in the air, sharp and unexpected, cutting through the technological and alien mystery straight to something raw and human. It was a challenge, an invasion, and a strange, impossible invitation all at once. The light pulsed, waiting for his answer, the resonance holding him captive. The question hit Kale like a physical blow, more disarming than any threat of fragmentation. He stared into the shifting, luminous form, trying to make sense of the request. How did it even know about wounds? How could it perceive such an abstract, deeply human concept? The resonant pull intensified, and he felt a strange, almost physical itch beneath his ribs, exactly where the memory of a very old injury resided. Why? Why do you want to know that? He asked, his voice hoarse. The light pulsed, the pattern swirling like liquid light. To understand the flicker, the resonant voice replied. The chaos within your order, it is significant. Most dense forms radiate a steady, predictable energy signature. Yours contains disruption. It is why the webs failed to recognize you as a threat. They registered the wound, not the intruder. Kale hesitated, his deepest wound. There were a few candidates, but the one that always surfaced, always ached beneath the surface, was the one he carried from the last time he let someone truly close. It's a betrayal, he said finally, the word tasting like ash. Someone I trusted, they broke that trust, left me for dead. The light patterns rippled, an intricate dance that felt like curiosity, or perhaps a form of alien empathy he couldn't fully grasp. The resonance softened, losing its sharp edge and becoming something gentler, probing. Betrayal, the voice echoed, the hum mournful again. A fracturing of the bond. We understand fracturing. This place is built on fracturing. The form flowed closer again, the intense light filling Kale's field of vision. He could feel the heat now, a distinct warmth that wasn't his own, sinking deep into his skin. It was a strange, comforting heat, utterly unlike the cold vacuum of space. "Show me," the voice prompted, the resonance shifting, becoming an invitation. Allow the resonance to touch it, the place of the wound. Kale's body tensed. "Show you how." "Do not resist," the voice hummed, the light pulsing steadily, rhythmically. "Allow the frequency to align. Release the density around the memory. Let it resonate." It felt wrong, utterly unnatural. But the resonant pull was impossible to ignore, a gentle but irresistible force coaxing him. And there was something about the alien presence that felt strangely non-threatening now, protective almost. He took a shaky breath, and against every instinct honed by a life of scavenging and survival, he relaxed his rigid posture. He focused tentatively on the dull ache that lived in his chest, the place where trust had been shattered. As he did, the resonance surged. The light form flowed over him, through the gaps in the bulkhead, surrounding him completely. He gasped as the sensation intensified, the hum vibrating not just in his bones but in his very cells. It felt like being immersed in liquid sound and light. And then the strange, probing resonance reached the place of his wound. It wasn't painful, it was seen, recognized. The alien resonance seemed to wrap around the memory of betrayal, not healing it but understanding it. A complex pattern of dark, swirling light bloomed within the alien form where it touched Kale's chest, mirroring the intricate shape of his emotional scar. "Yes," the voice whispered, the hum vibrating directly inside his skull. "The fracturing, it is deep. It disrupts your inner light." And then an even stranger thing happened. As the alien form resonated with his wound, Kale felt a faint echo emanating back from the alien itself. Not a specific memory, but a feeling of immense, ancient grief, of deep, agonizing separation, of something fundamental being torn apart. This wasn't just an observer. This being, too, carried a profound wound. You understand," Kale breathed out, the words barely audible. "We resonate with fracturing," the voice replied, the hum filled with sorrow. "It is the song of our existence in this form. To understand the wound is to understand the being. Your wound, it shields you. It creates a barrier of density." The light form pulsed gently, the swirling pattern over his chest fading back into the overall luminescence. The intense focus lessened, though the presence remained close, the resonance still enveloping him. "You survived the fragmentation mechanisms, because you were already fragmented." Kale stared, trying to process this. His deepest pain, the source of his cynicism and isolation, had been his shield. It was a bleak, desolate thought. "So," he said, trying to inject some of his usual sarcasm, "my trauma saved my life. Great. Galaxy's got a messed up sense of humor." The light rippled, a silent, visual equivalent of a wry smile. "The universe operates on principles you have not yet grasped. You are a fascinating anomaly, Kale, a dense, warm, fractured being who resonates with unexpected depth." The form shifted, flowing back slightly, creating more physical space, but the sense of intimate closeness remained, intensified by the shared moment of vulnerability. The resonance softened further, becoming a gentle, lingering hum. "You came for power. The sacred threads you touched, they are woven with the echoes of many. They do not yield energy easily, but your resonance with the wound, it has created a pathway." Kale felt a flicker of hope mixed with intense suspicion. "A pathway to what?" "To a different kind of energy," the voice hummed. "Not the raw power you seek for your machine corpse, but the energy that flows between presences. Resonance can be shared, directed." The light pulsed slowly, deliberately. "You need life support, I need understanding, and perhaps repair. Your touch was crude, but it disturbed something ancient, a seal. It released echoes that should have remained contained. This place is not safe for me, not now, not alone. Cale's mind raced. Was this a negotiation, an alien proposition? It was utterly bizarre. You need repair, he asked, focusing on the tangible part. Like, fixing something physical. I'm good with machines. That's what I do. Physical, yes, but of a nature you may not comprehend. The light shifted again, and Cale saw, for the first time, something that looked almost like an extension of the main form, a complex interwoven lattice of light that seemed frayed at one end. The fragmentation mechanism you bypassed is integral to the containment webs. My touch, my focus, is needed to weave them back, but the release of echoes has weakened me. This place feeds on my presence when I am vulnerable. I need a stable anchor, a density that does not resonate with the void. The form pulsed, and the frayed lattice extended slightly towards him, the resonance focused on that damaged section. You are dense, Cale, and your inner flicker, while chaotic, is strong. You could be an anchor. Cale stared at the frayed light lattice, then back at the main, pulsing form. An anchor. He was a scavenger, a runner, someone who avoided attachments like the plague. His density and flicker were just his physical body and his messed-up emotional state. This was insane. An anchor, he repeated flatly. What does that involve? Proximity, the voice hummed. Focused resonance, the merging of frequencies. The frayed lattice pulsed softly. Your warmth, your density, the chaos of your inner flicker. It creates a unique frequency that dampens the chaotic echoes. It allows me to focus my own resonance on the repair it would require. Close contact, sustained contact, and mutual vulnerability. The light form seemed to dim slightly, as if gathering itself for a significant statement. You are unbonded, are you not? The betrayal ensures that. A lack of resonant ties to other beings. Cale felt a jolt. How could it know that? The intimacy of the alien's perception was unsettling, laying bare parts of him he kept buried even from himself. Unbonded. Yeah, that summed it up. Yeah, I'm unbonded, he admitted, his voice quiet. By choice, mostly. Choice, the voice resonated, thoughtful. Or the scar's direction, the light pulsed softly. Bonding in our way is a merging of resonance, a shared frequency. Your kind bonds through different means, but the core concept is not entirely alien. Mutual reliance, shared vulnerability. The frayed lattice pulsed again, more insistently this time. If you provide the anchor, the stable frequency, I can repair the web. And when the web is whole, I can access the residual energy held within these structures. Enough perhaps to power your machine corpse. It is a mutual necessity, a temporary bond born of disruption. The proposition hung in the air, shimmering with light and resonance. A temporary bond with a being made of light and sorrow, using his own brokenness as the key to survival. It was the most insane offer he'd ever received, and part of him, the deeply wounded part, was utterly captivated. Cale looked from the glowing alien form to the cold, dead systems of his ship. Life support was critical. He was already rationing air. He had maybe a cycle, maybe less, before things got very uncomfortable, then fatal. And this alien, was offering him a way out, a way that involved getting close, sharing his personal demons with a being made of light. It was crazy. But then his life had been pretty crazy for a while now. Close contact, Cale repeated, trying to wrap his head around the logistics, or the lack thereof. How close? You're made of light, I'm solid, heavy. The light form flowed forward again, closer than before, the resonance deepening, becoming almost a physical pressure against his skin. Your solidity is the anchor, the voice hummed, soft now, almost coaxing. Your density is the counter-frequency to the void's hunger. We must align our resonances, intertwine them. Your warmth, it provides a stable core. The frayed lattice pulsed, and then, incredibly, it flowed towards his outstretched hand. It didn't touch in a way Cale understood. There was no physical pressure, no texture, but he felt it. A deep, vibrant hum resonated within his hand, along his arm, straight into his chest. It was like his entire nervous system had become a resonating chamber. The light brightened slightly where it touched him, becoming a vibrant, intricate pattern that mirrored the veins beneath his skin, the bones beneath that. Like this, the voice whispered, the hum vibrating in his blood. Your structure resonates. a resonant bond, focused through the place of the wound. Kale stared at the glowing patterns tracing his hand, mesmerized. It wasn't just a visual effect. He could feel the alien's energy, its strange, ethereal substance intertwining with his own. It was like being filled with liquid starlight. The sensation was intense, overwhelming, yet utterly captivating. It didn't hurt. It felt electric, alive in a way his own existence often didn't. "Okay," he said, the word coming out in a rush. "Okay, I'll do it. I'll be your anchor, but you fix my ship's power, and you explain things like, what are you, what is this place, and why are you hiding?" The light form pulsed gently, the intricate patterns on his hand shifting and reforming. "Agreement," the voice hummed, and Kale felt a flicker of something akin to relief resonating back. "Mutual necessity forms the first thread of bond. We are Cathar, this place is a fragment of our ancient song shattered by the collectors. We hide because our existence is valuable. In ways your kind might not understand, our resonance can be harvested, twisted." Collectors, slavers, Kale knew that word. They hunted anything with a unique biological or energy signature. The sector was known for them. He'd thought these ruins were just forgotten battle debris. He hadn't realized he'd stumbled into a hiding place. "The collectors," he repeated, his voice hard. "They hunt you." "They hunt our resonance," Vexia confirmed, the light dimming slightly, the patterns becoming more angular, sharp with remembered pain. "They use cruel methods to fracture our frequencies to capture the raw energy. Many light walkers were lost. This fragment, it holds their echoes but also the means to protect what remains." The frayed lattice pulsed again, drawing his attention. "The repair is delicate. It requires sustained, focused resonance. Your density. It will shield me from the disruptive echoes this breach has unleashed." "So I just stay like this?" Kale asked, looking at the glowing lattice intertwined with his hand. The sensation was growing more intense, a deep warmth spreading through his arm into his chest. It felt like his very atoms were singing along with the alien hum. "Closer," Vexia hummed, and the light form flowed forward again, surrounding him, pressing gently without physical weight. He was immersed in luminous patterns in the deep, resonant hum. The frayed lattice flowed from his hand, extending up his arm across his shoulder, settling against his chest directly over the scar of his betrayal. The resonance focused there, deep and vibrating. "This is where the bond is strongest, Kale, where your wound resonates with the fracturing of this place. Allow our frequencies to align. Let your density hold me." Kale took a deep breath, the recycled air suddenly feeling charged with alien energy. He leaned into the pressure, into the enveloping light. It was terrifying, intimate, and utterly compelling. He could feel the intricate complexity of the alien presence surrounding him, the rapid flow of energy, the deep, underlying hum of its being. His own body felt clumsy, slow, and incredibly solid in comparison. The warmth intensified, soaking into his skin, warming him from the inside out. The resonance deepened, becoming a shared vibration that felt profoundly personal. He could feel the alien's focus on the repair, a directed energy flow that was palpable, intricate. It felt like he was plugged into something ancient and powerful, serving as a biological battery, a human ground wire in a circuit of alien light and sorrow. He closed his eyes, surrendering to the sensation. The hum filled his head, his chest, his entire body. The light, even through his eyelids, was an intense, shifting orange and gold. He felt Vexia's focus, a directed intelligence working complex patterns of energy. And within that shared space, amplified by the resonant bond, he felt the echoes she'd spoken of. Whispers of alien thought, flashes of alien memory, fragments of a deep, resonant song of a species that existed on a plane he was only just beginning to glimpse. He felt the sorrow, the loss, the deep, aching emptiness of fractured connection. And beneath it all the steady, anchoring hum of his own flawed human presence, a stark contrast to the ethereal alien light, yet somehow exactly what was needed. The intimacy of the connection was overwhelming, a merging of presence that bypassed language and physical form, speaking directly to the core of his being. He was a dense, warm rock holding an ocean of light. And the ocean was working, intricate and focused, using him as its shore. The connection deepened, becoming less like being plugged in and more like being merged. Kale felt his own energy signature intertwining with Vexia's resonance, their frequencies locking into a shared pattern. It wasn't just physical proximity. It was a profound commingling of existence. The warmth from the alien form wasn't just on his skin anymore. It felt like it was saturating his very cells, warming his blood, making his bones hum. He felt Vexia's focused intent, a directed energy flow that was incredibly intricate, working on the frayed resonance lattice against his chest. He could sense the complexity of the task, the delicate weaving of energy threads that felt like rebuilding a shattered song note by note. Within the shared resonant space, the echoes of the lost Cathar intensified. He saw fleeting, chaotic images, vast, complex structures made of light, beings flowing and merging like liquid energy, vibrant fields of shared resonance that pulsed with collective joy and sorrow. Then violent fracturing, sharp, discordant energies tearing through the patterns, light scattering into lonely fragments, the resonant song dissolving into screams of pure, agonizing separation. He felt the terror, the loss, the deep, soul-deep pain of being ripped apart from everything familiar, everything that constituted self for the Cathar. This was the wound of Vexia's species, the source of the grief that permeated this place. And then, amidst the chaos and sorrow, he felt Vexia's presence within the shared resonance, a core of fierce determination, a singular focus on healing, on rebuilding, on protecting what remained. He felt her strain as she worked, the immense effort required to mend the fragile lattice. His own role as the anchor felt clearer now. His dense, stable, human energy was like a steady hand holding the delicate threads while she rewove them in the face of the disruptive echoes. The chaos of his inner flicker, his own deep-seated trauma, wasn't a weakness here. It was a unique frequency that somehow absorbed or neutralized the chaotic echoes of the lost Cathar, providing Vexia with the stability she needed. "It is difficult," Vexia's hum vibrated directly in his mind, bypassing sound. "The echoes, they are loud today, the proximity of your machine, its inertness, it draws them." "My ship," Kale thought back, his own thoughts slow and clumsy compared to the rapid flow of alien consciousness. "Yes, it is a vessel of stillness, inertia. The echoes are drawn to it, they seek form, density, anything to escape the void." The resonance pulsed with strain. "Your density, it is the anchor, yes, but it also draws the echoes closer. I must work faster." Kale felt a surge of helpless frustration. He was trying to help, but his very presence, his ship, was making it harder for her. "What can I do?" he thought, focusing all his will on the shared connection. "Hold," Vexia's resonance pulsed back, urgent. "Hold the frequency. Do not waver. Let your density be absolute. Your wound, let it be a wall against the echoes. Focus on the fracturing. Let it resonate, but contain it within yourself." Focus on his wound. Let the betrayal, the pain, the isolation become a shield. It was counterintuitive, but in this utterly alien context, it made a terrifying kind of sense. He consciously drew the memory of the betrayal to the forefront of his mind. The sharp, cold feeling of abandonment, the shattering of trust, the desolate emptiness that followed. He didn't try to push it away. He focused on it, held it, let it resonate within him. As he did, he felt a subtle shift in the shared resonance. The chaotic echoes seemed to diminish slightly, recoiling from the focused, contained frequency of his human pain. It was like his trauma was broadcasting a signal that was antithetical to the scattered, formless energy of the echoes. Vexia's focused energy intensified, her intricate weaving faster, more confident. He felt the lattice against his chest becoming firmer, the frayed edges slowly mending, thread by delicate thread. The process was physically draining. Kale felt his energy being pulled, not in a harmful way, but as if it were being used as raw material for the resonant bond. His body grew heavy, his limbs felt leaden. The warmth intensified, a deep heat that felt like it was burning away something stagnant within him. He could feel the intricate work Vexia was doing, the complex patterns of energy she was manipulating. It was like watching a master weaver work with threads of pure light and sound, and he was the loom. Hours passed, or maybe moments. Time felt fluid in the resonant space. Kale remained focused on his wound, using the solid, unyielding wall of his pain to hold back the chaotic echoes. He felt Vexia's presence constantly, a vibrant, complex entity woven into his own being. He felt her fatigue, her concentration, her quiet determination. And increasingly he felt something else, a profound sense of shared purpose, a silent understanding that transcended species and form. They were two wounded beings, using their fractures to create something whole again. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Vexia's focused resonance shifted. The intense weaving energy subsided. The pressure against his chest lessened. The chaotic echoes receded completely, leaving only the deep, steady hum of Vexia's presence and the faint, lingering resonance of the mended lattice. "It is done," Vexia's hum resonated, filled with exhaustion but also a quiet triumph. "The lattice is whole. The containment webs are rewoven, the echoes, they are contained." Kale slowly opened his eyes. The intense light had dimmed, revealing the dusty interior of his ship once more. The luminous form was still there, close but less intense, the vibrant pattern softer, slower. The frayed lattice was gone, absorbed back into her main form, which now pulsed with a steady, rhythmic light. He still felt the resonance, the deep connection, but it had changed, becoming less like an active bond and more like a lingering imprint. He felt utterly drained, physically and emotionally. Focusing on his betrayal for so long had opened up old wounds he usually kept firmly shut. But there was also a strange sense of cleanliness, like the focused resonance had burned away some of the stagnant pain, leaving the scar but making it feel less heavy. You did it," he said, his voice raspy. "We did it," Vexia corrected, her hum soft. "Your density, it was the necessary anchor, your wound, it was the shield." The light pulsed gently. "You held the fracture so I could mend it." Kale managed a weak smile. "My pleasure," he muttered. The intimacy of the shared experience was overwhelming. They had been inside each other's heads in a way, shared pain, shared purpose. It was unlike anything he'd ever known. "The residual energy," Vexia resonated, her hum strengthening slightly. "It is now accessible, focused by the rewoven webs. It can be directed." The light form shifted, flowing towards the sparking power conduit Kale had been trying to fix. "This is where your machine seeks energy transfer." "Yeah," Kale said, pushing himself upright, his muscles aching. "The main power junction. If you can get energy into that, I can route it to life support, then the engines." Vexia's light form flowed around the junction, enveloping it. Kale felt a new surge of energy, different from the resonance that had bound them. This was raw power, focused and intense. Sparks flew from the conduit, then stabilized, replaced by a steady hum of activating systems. Lights flickered on throughout the ship, weak at first, then strengthening. The familiar whine of the life support recycler kicking in filled the air, the sound of pure, blessed survival. Kale leaned back against the bulkhead, exhaling shakily. "Air, real air." "Thank you," he said, looking at the glowing form near the junction. The connection felt different now, still present but looser, less consuming. Vexia's form pulsed, shifting, seeming to coalesce slightly. The intricate patterns rearranged themselves, forming shapes Kale couldn't interpret but felt were significant. "The bond served its purpose," she hummed. "Mutual necessity fulfilled. The echoes are contained. Your machine corpse lives again." The light form flowed away from the conduit, drifting back towards the collapsed bulkhead where she had first appeared. "Now, I must assess the full extent of the disruption. Ensure the collector deterrents are adjusted." Kale felt a sudden, unexpected pang of something, disappointment, loneliness. After the intense, intimate connection, the thought of her leaving felt strangely sharp. "Wait," he said quickly. "You're just going back into the dark." The light form paused. "This is my place, Kale, where the remaining Cathar fragments seek refuge, where the song must be rebuilt. But the collectors, Kale said, getting to his feet. He was tired, sore, but the fear for her was real. They know this sector, if they find this place, if they find you. The light pulsed slowly. They registered your ship's arrival. It is likely their awareness of this fragment's location has been refreshed. Your presence, while necessary for repair, has also increased the risk. The hum carried a note of weary resignation. Kale felt a fresh wave of guilt. He'd literally brought danger to her doorstep just by trying to survive. Okay, so, what happens now? I must strengthen the remaining defenses, Vexia hummed. Weave new deterrents attuned to the collector's frequencies. Can I help? Kale asked. The words were out before he could stop them. Help, he was a scavenger, a runner. He didn't stay and fight, but the thought of leaving her here, alone and vulnerable after what they'd just shared, it felt wrong. The light form pulsed, the patterns swirling with something that felt like surprise. You would offer resonance again, without necessity. It's not just necessity anymore, Kale said, stepping closer, ignoring the aching protest of his muscles. He reached out a hand, not expecting to touch her, but just as a gesture. You saw my wound, and you didn't flinch. You used it, and I felt yours, your species' wound. He let his hand hover near the soft, glowing light. We're both kind of broken, aren't we? Maybe. Maybe broken things can help each other stay whole. The light form flowed forward again, reaching his hand. This time the connection wasn't the intense, consuming resonance of repair. It was a softer, warmer hum, like a gentle caress. The luminous patterns flowed around his fingers, intricate and delicate. A different kind of bond, Vexia hummed, her voice softer now, more human in its intonation despite the resonance. Not born of necessity, born of recognition. The light pulsed gently against his palm. The collectors. They are relentless. They perceive us only as resource. They cannot comprehend the song. They cannot resonate with the wound. I can, Kale said quietly. I resonated with it just fine. The light form pulsed again, and this time Kale felt a faint alien echo of laughter. It was a beautiful, shimmering sound like wind chimes made of starlight. Yes, Kale, Vexia hummed, the resonance vibrating with amusement. You resonated spectacularly. You are a most unexpected anchor. The light flowed away from his hand but didn't retreat. It hovered near him, the hum a steady, comforting presence in the now-lit ship. Your help could be useful. Your machine corpse. It can move through frequencies that are difficult for us in this state. And your density, it is a powerful counter-frequency to the collector's harvesting tools. Kale felt a sense of purpose blooming in his chest, pushing back the familiar cynicism. He wasn't just surviving anymore. He had a reason to fight. Okay, he said, meeting the steady pulse of her light with his gaze. Tell me what we need to do. How do we fight back? The light pulsed and Vexia's hum deepened, becoming serious. The collectors are drawn to resonant signatures. The echoes released drew their attention. We must weave a counter-frequency, a signal of resistance, one they cannot harvest, one that burns. The light form flowed, leading him out of the cramped power conduit access, back into the main, cavernous space of the derelict ship, which was now bathed in the soft glow of her light and the weak emergency lights. We need power. But not the power your ship consumes, the raw energy of disruption. We need to gather the most volatile echoes, the ones that scream of fracturing, and focus them. Amplify them. Your ship, it has instruments of detection, yes, scanners, navigational arrays. Yeah, Kale said, following her, the air now smelling faintly of ozone and dust. Standard scout kit, nothing fancy. They are crude, Vexia hummed, but they perceive frequencies. Perhaps they can be adapted to perceive the scattered echoes outside these structures, to draw them in. And your ship's broadcast array, it can be amplified, focused. You want to use my ship to gather screaming ghost energy and broadcast it? Kale asked, raising an eyebrow. This was officially the weirdest salvage job of his life. To broadcast a song of defiance, Vexia corrected, her light pulsing with intensity. A frequency that is poisonous to the collectors, a song of the fractured sung from the heart of the wound. The light form flowed towards the cockpit, and Kale found himself walking with her, shoulder to shoulder with a being of pure energy and resonance. The sense of shared purpose of two broken things finding strength in each other settled deep within him. Survival was one thing, fighting for something, for someone, felt entirely different. They worked together, Kale translating Vexia's resonant instructions into physical actions within the ship's systems. His scanners, crude as they were, could be tuned to filter out the background noise of space and focus on the specific, chaotic frequencies of the scattered Cathar echoes. Vexia, her form pulsing and flowing around the ship's console, guided him with precise, resonant hums, showing him how to bypass safeties, reroute power, and modify the sensor arrays. It was a complex, intuitive dance between human tech and alien resonance. Kale manipulated physical controls, rerouted wires, and interfaced with the ship's computer, while Vexia flowed through the energy conduits, her light intertwining with the ship's systems, augmenting his actions with her resonant energy. As they worked, their connection deepened again, different from the intense bond of repair but just as profound. Kale felt Vexia's presence constantly, a warm, vibrant hum beside him. He learned to interpret the subtle shifts in her light patterns, the changes in her resonant frequency. He could feel her frustration when a circuit resisted, her satisfaction when a connection was made. And she, in turn, seemed to learn the rhythms of his human body, the subtle tells of his fatigue, the tension in his muscles, the way his heartbeat picked up when he was focused or stressed. "This requires significant energy focus," Vexia hummed, her light dimming slightly. She was draped over the main console, her patterns intricate and fast as she manipulated the energy flows. "The broadcast will consume a great deal of my current reserves." "Can you handle it?" Kale asked, wiping sweat from his brow. He just finished rerouting the main power core directly to the comms array, bypassing half the ship's other systems. "I must," she resonated, her light pulsing with renewed intensity. "The risk is too great otherwise. The collectors will seek the source of the echoes they detected. This song must be sung before they arrive." The light around her intensified, focusing on the ship's main console. "Your resonance, Kale, focus it on the broadcast array, your density. It will help ground the signal, make it solid, unignorable." Kale placed his hands on the console, feeling the familiar controls beneath his fingers, but also the alien energy flowing through them. He focused not just his mind, but his being. He thought about his own wound, the solid, unyielding wall of his betrayal. He thought about the scattered echoes of Vexia's species, the screams of fracturing he had felt. He poured his frustration, his loneliness, his sudden fierce protectiveness of this strange being beside him, into the connection. Vexia's light flared, intense and brilliant. The ship hummed around them, a deep, vibrating thrum that resonated with the alien energy. Kale felt the energy surge through him, grounding the signal, making his very bones feel like part of the broadcast array. The ship's comms dish, visible on the external monitor, began to glow with an eerie, pulsing light that mirrored Vexia's own luminescence. The song began. It wasn't sound as Kale understood it. It was resonance, a wave of energy and light that pulsed outwards from the ship, carrying the focused echoes of the fractured Cathar, amplified by Vexia's will and grounded by Kale's human density. It was discordant, raw, filled with pain and defiance. It was a song that screamed, "We are broken, but we are here, and our pain is a weapon you cannot harvest." Kale felt it flow through the void, a searing counter-frequency against the emptiness. He felt Vexia's presence beside him, radiant with effort, pouring her very essence into the broadcast. The intimacy was different this time, a shared act of defiance, a joint creation born of trauma and necessity. The broadcast lasted for what felt like an age. Kale remained focused, a conduit for the alien energy, holding the frequency steady. When it finally subsided, the light dimming, the ship's hum fading back to normal, he slumped against the console, exhausted but strangely exhilarated. Vexia's light form was dim now, the patterns soft and slow. She flowed away from the console, drifting silently beside him. "It is done," she hummed, her resonance weak. "The song is sung. Those who hunt resonance, they will feel it. It is a countersignal, a warning." "Will it stop them?" Kale asked, his voice tired. "It will injure them," Vexia resonated. "Their harvesting tools are attuned to resonant frequencies. This song is poison to them. It will force them to recoil, to seek easier prey. For a time," she pulsed softly. "It buys us time, time to perhaps find a new refuge, a place where our fractured song can heal in silence." Kale looked at her, at the soft, shimmering light of her form. She was vulnerable, drained by the effort, and he felt a fierce protectiveness rise up. He wasn't going to leave her here alone. "Where do you go?" he asked. "Where is this refuge?" The light pulsed, and the intricate patterns shifted into something that felt like longing, like memory. "There are whispers of a deep void pocket," Vexia hummed, her resonance growing stronger as she spoke of it. "A place of natural silence where the void does not hunger for resonance, where the structures, the greater structures, are undisturbed. It is a legend among the scattered, a place called the Stillness Heart." "The Stillness Heart," Kale repeated. It sounded like a myth. "It is far," Vexia confirmed. "Across sectors known for collector activity. Getting there would be dangerous, especially now after the broadcast." "Then my ship can take you," Kale said immediately. "It's not fast, but it's discreet. I can fly us there." Vexia's light pulsed, swirling with patterns that seemed to convey surprise, then something deeper. "You would abandon your scavenging, your path of survival." "Survival isn't just about staying alive," Kale said, looking at the soft glow of her form. "It's about having something to survive for." He reached out, his hand hovering near her light again. "We're bonded now, Vexia. Maybe not in your way, maybe not in my way, but something happened here, something real." The light flowed forward, enveloping his hand gently. The resonant hum returned, soft and warm, a promise of shared journey. "Yes, Kale," Vexia hummed, the resonance vibrating with a deep, quiet intensity. "Something real, a bond of wound and defiance." The light pulsed against his palm, and he felt a flicker of alien emotion, trust, vulnerability, a tentative hope. "The Stillness Heart, it is not just a refuge. It is where the song began, where perhaps it can begin again." Kale nodded, his gaze steady. He was no longer just a scavenger in a dead ship. He was an anchor, a human shield, a co-singer of a fractured song, embarking on a perilous journey with a being of light to a legendary place of silence. His ship was repaired, yes, but his life had just been fundamentally rebuilt, piece by piece, resonance by resonance, into something entirely new. The danger was immense, the unknown vast, but for the first time in a long time, Kale didn't feel entirely alone. He felt partnered with the impossible. The journey to the Stillness Heart was a tense, silent ballet between evasion and propulsion. Kale flew the ship, navigating the treacherous routes Vexia suggested, ghosting through asteroid fields and drifting derelict zones. His ship was old, unassuming, its energy signature low, but the collectors were relentless. They felt the broadcast, the poisonous song, and Kale knew they would be hunting the source. Vexia remained a constant presence beside him in the cockpit, her light form draped over the co-pilot's chair or flowing through the ship's systems, her resonance a low, steady hum of comfort and vigilance. She acted as his eyes and ears in the frequencies he couldn't perceive, alerting him to distant resonant signatures, guiding him through fields of disruptive energy that would cripple his systems. Their bond deepened during this time of shared danger and forced proximity. Kale talked, telling her about his life, the cold expanse of the void, the loneliness of scavenging, the sting of the betrayal that had shaped him. Vexia listened, her light pulsing with what felt like focused attention, her hum occasionally shifting in response. She didn't offer easy platitudes. She offered understanding, her alien perspective shedding strange light on his human experiences. She spoke, too, in hums and resonant images of the Cathar's past, of the vibrant, interconnected existence they had known before the collectors, of the pain of scattering, of the desperate hope for the Stillness Heart. The physical intimacy of their shared space became a new kind of normal. Vexia's light form often flowed close to him during tense navigation, her presence calming his frayed nerves. He grew accustomed to the feel of her resonant warmth, the subtle vibration of her being. There were moments during long silent watches when her light would soften, her patterns becoming less sharp, more flowing, and she would drift closer still, her form settling gently against his side. It wasn't physical contact in the traditional sense. There was no weight, no pressure, but the sensation of her light and resonance enveloping him was intensely intimate. It felt like being held by starlight, a profound energetic embrace that bypassed the limitations of his human form and touched something deeper. He found himself leaning into it, seeking the comfort of her alien presence. One cycle, huddled in a cramped maintenance crawlspace after a near miss with a collector patrol, the tension between them snapped. The air in the small space was thick with dust and Kale's rapid breathing. Vexia's light form was pressed close against him, dim to avoid detection, her hum a low, anxious vibration. "That was too close," Kale whispered, his voice tight. "Their reach is extensive," Vexia resonated, her hum tight with strain. The song, it angered them. It disrupted their harvesting networks. They will not relent. Kale felt a surge of fear, cold and sharp. Fear for himself, yes, but more acutely fear for her. She was drained from the broadcast, vulnerable, relying on him. "I shouldn't have brought you here," he said, the guilt heavy in his chest. "I led them to you, the echoes." "No," Vexia hummed, her light pulsing with sudden force against his side. "You are the anchor, Kale, the shield. Without you, the song would not have been sung. The echoes would remain scattered, vulnerable to passive harvesting. Now they are focused, a seed of resistance. Your presence, it drew the collectors, yes, but it also allowed for this defiance." Her light flowed closer, and he felt a new kind of resonance, not just comfort, but something electric charged. "Do not regret the connection, Kale. Not when it has created something new." The air crackled with unspoken intensity. Huddled together in the dark, the threat of the collectors a palpable weight outside the hull, the profound intimacy of their shared vulnerability became overwhelming. Kale looked at the soft, shifting light of her form, so alien, so beautiful, and he reached out slowly, tentatively, his hand trembling slightly. "Vexia," he whispered. Her light form flowed into his hand, not just enveloping it this time, but seeming to melt into it. He felt the profound sensation of merging resonance, but different from the focused bond of repair. This was exploratory, intimate. Her light flowed up his arm, across his chest, settling directly over his heart. The resonance deepened, a slow, pulsing beat that mirrored his own rapid heart rate, but was infinitely deeper, richer. "Kale," she hummed, her voice soft, vibrating deep within him. "The density, the warmth, it is overwhelming in this closeness." He could feel it too, the sheer intensity of her presence flowing into him through him. His human senses were bombarded, the warmth, the vibration, the complex flow of her energy patterns that felt like seeing with his skin. It was disorienting, intoxicating. He felt his own energy responding, drawn to hers, mingling in a chaotic, exhilarating dance. "I don't understand this," Kale breathed out, his voice thick with emotion. "What is this feeling?" "This," Vexia hummed, her light form rippling like disturbed water. "This is the merging of frequencies, a resonant attraction on this level of proximity, your energy signature. It is like a focused sun. It calls to the core of my being, it seeks connection." Her light pulsed, the patterns shifting rapidly. "And mine, it is drawn to your solidity, your heat. The steady hum beneath the chaos, it is an echo of the great structures before the fracturing, a longing for containment. For anchor." The words were alien, but the meaning was clear. Attraction. Deep, resonant, fundamental attraction. Born of their differences, their shared wounds, their unexpected connection. Kale moved without thinking, shifting closer in the cramped space. His body, so solid, so clumsy compared to her light form, felt a desperate need for contact. He reached out his other hand, pulling her light form closer, pressing it against his chest. He gasped as the intensity surged. It wasn't like holding something, it was like holding energy. Pure, vibrant, singing energy. Her light enveloped him, flowing around him, through him, filling the small space with her luminous presence and deep, resonant hum. He felt her intricate patterns against his skin, a language of light and vibration he couldn't read but could feel intimately. And then Vexia's hum deepened, shifted, and he felt a focused surge of her energy, distinct and powerful. It wasn't just resonance this time, it was sensation, alien sensation. He felt her flow across his skin, not with touch, but with something that bypassed physical nerves, touching his very essence. It was electric, overwhelming, unlike any pleasure he had ever known. A pure, vibrating intensity that resonated deep within his core. "Vexia," he choked out, his voice raw. "Kale," she hummed back, her light pulsing with fierce intensity. "The anchor, the wound, the song, it is all one now, in this moment." Her energy focused again, drawing his own energy signature into a powerful, shared current. It was a merging of presence, an intertwining of frequencies that transcended the physical, reaching into the deepest parts of their beings. It was raw, overwhelming, and utterly consuming. He was lost in the light, in the hum, in the impossible intimacy of being utterly porous to another being, of having his deepest vulnerabilities met not with fear, but with a hungry, resonant need. The experience was beyond words, beyond human understanding of physical intimacy. It was a communion of energy, a merging of resonant fields. Kale felt his very being vibrate with the intensity of Vexia's presence. Her light didn't just surround him, it flowed into him, her intricate patterns weaving with his own biological energy signature. The warmth became an internal fire, igniting a pleasure that started at a cellular level and spread outward, consuming him. He felt the chaos of his inner flicker meeting her focused intensity, the density of his form providing a grounding anchor for her boundless energy. Vexia's hum intensified, becoming a low, melodic thrum that resonated deep within his chest, vibrating against his heart. He felt her focus, singular and absolute, directed entirely on him. The sensation was overwhelming, his senses overloaded, his mind struggling to process the pure, unfiltered input of alien intimacy. He felt her joy, a bright, shimmering energy flowing through him, and his own human response was a surge of emotion so powerful it brought tears to his eyes. He held her light form tighter, pressing his face into the soft, luminous glow. "This is," he managed, his voice ragged, "I don't know what this is." "This is connection," Vexia hummed, her light form rippling like disturbed water, the intricate patterns shifting and reforming with dazzling speed. "Deep resonance, a merging of presence, your density. It is so profound, it grounds my energy and mine. It flows into your structure, reaches the places your own energy cannot touch." Her resonance pulsed, sharp and focused. "The wound, Kale, feel it resonate, feel my presence reach it, not to mend it but to share it. To make it part of the song." He focused on the ache in his chest, the scar of his betrayal, and felt Vexia's energy flow into it, around it, through it. It didn't erase the pain, but it transformed it. It became part of a larger pattern, a note in the complex, chaotic song they were creating together. The pain resonated with her species fracturing, with the screams of the lost echoes, and in that shared resonance it lost some of its power over him. It was still there, but it was no longer just his. The wave of intense sensation built, reaching a peak that felt like his very being was about to shatter. His body arched instinctively, a purely human response to an utterly alien stimulus. He felt Vexia's light flare, the resonance peaking with his own physical release. It wasn't just pleasure, it was a profound, energetic communion, a total surrender of self into the shared current of their combined frequencies. When it subsided, Kale was left trembling, breathless, immersed in the soft, lingering hum of Vexia's presence. The intense light dimmed, retreating slightly, though still close, still enveloping him in its gentle warmth. His body felt heavy, sated, utterly drained. But his mind felt strangely clear, quiet. "Did you just break me?" he whispered, the words raw with shock and wonder. Vexia's light pulsed softly, a pattern he now recognized as amusement. Break you? No, Kale, I did not break you. Your wound was already there. I merely resonated with it, amplified it, and allowed your dense form to provide anchor for my own release. Her hum was soft, intimate. The merging, it is powerful for both of us. Your density, it contains energy in a way we cannot. And our resonance, it can access depths within your being that are otherwise shielded. Kale slowly sat up, his body aching, his mind reeling. He looked at the soft, shimmering form beside him, so beautiful, so alien, so intimately known in a way no human had ever known him. He had shared his deepest wound, not with words, but with energy, with resonance, with a being made of light. And that sharing had led to this profound, impossible connection. What happens now? He asked, his voice quiet. Vexia's light pulsed, her patterns becoming serious again. Now, the collectors are still hunting. The song has shown them where we were. We must reach the stillness heart, quickly. The light form flowed away from him completely, though the lingering resonance, the feeling of her presence, remained strong. That connection, it has bound us further, Kale, in ways you may not yet understand. Your energy, it is now imprinted with my resonance, my light. It holds the echo of your density. We are changed. Kale nodded, slowly getting to his feet. Changed was an understatement. He felt like he had just seen the universe from the inside out, through the eyes of a being made of starlight and sorrow. He was still Kale, the scavenger with a broken past, but now he was also something else. An anchor, a resonant partner, bound to an alien exile by shared wounds and an impossible intimacy. Let's go then, he said, moving towards the cockpit. The fear was still there, the danger very real, but it was tempered now by a fierce determination, a sense of shared purpose that felt stronger than any fear. He had a reason to survive now, a reason to fight. He had Vexia, and she had him. Two broken pieces resonating together, forming something whole. The stillness heart awaited, and they would face it and everything that came after together. The soft, steady hum of Vexia's presence beside him in the cockpit was all the confirmation he needed. He was no longer alone in the dark. You just break me. Alien girl's shock after first time.